base off through commentary of Man City against Bournemouth as the post-Pep Guardiola era begins in the league this afternoon. The Citizens played out a 1-1 draw with the Cherries in their most recent meeting at Bournemouth in May, a result which confirmed Arsenal as top-flight champions. After 10 glorious trophy-laden years under Guardiola, Enzo Maresca is the man facing the monumental task of sustaining a relentless winning culture at Man City and steering the club on a high-stakes mission to end their 2-season league title drought. The 46-year-old former Chelsea boss is embracing the challenge at such a huge organisation and is convinced that his team can achieve something important this term. Even though a plethora of players, including Bernardo Silva, Rodri and John Stones, have all departed this summer. Man City enjoyed double domestic cup success last season, but they have slipped behind newly formed rivals Arsenal in the top flight and were deservedly beaten 3-0 by the Gunners last weekend, with Maresca setting an unwanted record on his managerial debut. On a positive note, though, each of Man City's last 4 managers have won their first league game in charge, with Mark Hughes back in August 2008, the last to taste defeat, which was a 4-2-1 at Aston Villa. The 8-time champions head into today's contest having won their opening match in 14 of the last 15 top-flight seasons, the exception being a 1-0 loss to Tottenham in 2021. Coincidentally, Spurs were the only team to beat Man City at home in the league last season before Aston Villa claimed a 2-1 win in Guardiola's farewell match at the end of the campaign. Not since May 2021 have Man City suffered back-to-back home league defeats, but they should be confident of success this afternoon as they prevailed in all 9 of their home league meetings against Bournemouth by an aggregate score of 34-6, netting 3.8 goals per game. Like Man City, Bournemouth have embarked on a new era under a new manager in the form of Marco Rose, with the former Leipzig and Dortmund boss succeeding Andoni Iraola, of course now at Liverpool. The 49-year-old German has inherited a buoyant and resilient Cherry side, fresh of a historic 6th-place finish in which they suffered only 7 defeats in the 38 league matches, an impressive feat only bettered by champions Arsenal, who lost 5, and Man City, who lost 6. Rosa also enters his first season in England, backed by the club's extraordinary 18-match unbeaten league run carried over the end of last term. However, none of the previous 4 managers to make their debut against Man City in this league made a winning start, 3 of them being losses. The most recent of those did avoid defeat, though, as Callum McFarland's Chelsea drew 1-1 at the City of Manchester Stadium in January. Bournemouth, who have signed 3 new players so far this summer, enjoyed a largely positive pre-season, winning 3 of their 5 friendlies, only tasting 1 defeat, and scoring a whopping 22 goals in the process, including an eye-catching 10-1 victory over Genoa. However, the Cherries have won their opening game of the season in this league just twice in 9 attempts, losing 4 of them, beating Cardiff in 2018 and Aston Villa 4 years later. While they have only ever beaten Man City once in 18 top-flight games, losing 16 of those. That was a 2-1 win at home in November 2024. Well, let's talk you through the lineup, starting with Man City. So Mark Gay, Enrico Lewis come in for Mateo Kovacic and Jeremy Doku. Kovacic actually dropped to the bench while Doku misses out injured. So Gianluigi Donnarumma is in goal. It looks like it would be Rico Lewis at right back, with Abdelkader Husinov and Ruben Diaz, the centre-backs, with Joško Vardiol at left back. Mark Gay is going to be playing at the base of the midfield along with Elliot Anderson, of course, the new signing, 160 million for Nottingham Forest, making his first league start for Manchester City. Nico O'Reilly is also in that midfield, and it's a front 3 for Manchester City of the former Bournemouth man Antoine Semenyo, of course, only joined Manchester City in January. Phil Foden, who's looking for a big season in the league, on the right. and Erling Haaland, who has a new haircut now, looks unrecognisable, leading the line again, looking to get another golden boot in the English top flight. As for Bournemouth, they make just one change from their friendly against Mainz last week, with Alex Scott coming in midfield for Alex Toth. So Dole Petrovic is in goal, a back line of Adam Smith, new summer signing Antonio Silva from Benfica. He's partnering James Hill. In the middle defence, Adrian Truffert complete in the back line. Double pivot of Lewis Cook and Alex Scott, who again did reject a new contract at Bournemouth this summer, but Bournemouth are refusing to let him go. Into the attack, Marcus Tavernier on the left. Ryan, what an exciting talent he is on the right. Justin Clive in between them, and Evan Nilsson leading the line. Big blow for Bournemouth, for Elliot Junior. Krupi has a foot injury which will keep him out for a few months. Man City's benches: Omar Mamouche, who's heavily linked with a move to Spurs; Mateo Kovacic, Ryan Cherky, Nico Gonzalez, heavily linked with a move to Newcastle. Jack Grealish had a loan spell at Everton last time out. Ryan Ait-Nouri, Vitor Hayes, Mateus Nunes, and Geronimo Rulli. As for Bournemouth, it's David Brooks, Ben Gannon-Doe, Tyler Adams, Bafolo Diakite, Juanlu Sanchez, Alex Toth, Dan Jefferson, Alvaro Rodriguez, and Will Dennis. So we are about to find out how the post-Pep era is really about to go. We got a taster last weekend in the traditional English curtain raiser between the league champions and the cup winners. Again, a huge challenge for Enzo Maresca, that's for sure, putting it lightly. Again, it's such a hard act to follow. You've seen how it is, but David Moyes succeeding Sir Alex Ferguson, Unai Emery succeeding Arsene Wenger, and Arne Slot. Although Arne Slot actually did win the league title, of course, 2 years back, but again, he's already been sacked, obviously, after a really unsuccessful season. So it's so hard following these legacy managers. So it's intriguing to see how Enzo Maresca get on. But again, Andoni Iraola, arguably Bournemouth's greatest manager. Well, he's certainly got to be in the conversation anyway. Maybe Eddie Howe will still hold that title for the incredible journey that he took the Cherries on. But again, Marco Rosa managing England for the first time. By the way, is a lovely round of applause in tribute of Kevin Keegan, sadly passed away in July. Of course, Newcastle-Liverpool is later on in the league, crown off the action. Again, the Newcastle United fans worship Kevin Keegan, so emotional there. And it was certainly emotional here at the City of Manchester Stadium in the sunshine. Of course, Kevin Keegan had a 4-year spell at Manchester City, winning their promotion. Such exciting football. Again, footballers like Ali Benabia, he brought, and again, he had the final season at Main Road as well. He got a memorable win over Manchester United. Actually picked up the back-to-back home league wins over Manchester United. So they're certainly great memories that the Man City fans will remember Kevin Keegan for. He did a really solid job, transition Man City from Main Road to the City of Manchester Stadium. So it is the opening league match of the season for these two. And it is so intriguing to see how they get on under new managers. Bournemouth kick us off, and a long ball straight away for Antonio Silva towards the right channel. Flicked on to Evan Nilsson. Evan Nilsson can't quite get onto it. Again, it was Ryan who won the header. Evan Nilsson's making the run, and Donnarumma just rolls it in the box. By the way, if you are watching the match as well as listening, make sure you are watching through your local broadcasters. Gvardiol finds Haaland in the centre circle. Now squares it to Foden. Foden now just jinking in. Just under 40 yards from goal. Anderson, with his first touch in a league match for Manchester City, is Husnoff now squared to Diaz. Ruben Diaz brings it just over halfway down the centre circle. Here's Anderson dropping him in between the two centre-backs. It's a nice pass from Anderson, right-footed. Control from his fellow countryman Foden. Back now in the City half to Husnoff. Diaz. Husnoff, Man City still in the middle of their half. Donnarumma passed out of his area. Here is Gvardiol. That's a good press in there on the far side. Alan Smith travelling forwards from right back. Just deflecting that Gvardiol pass out of touch for a City throw in the opening minute here at the City of Manchester Stadium. So Gvardiol throws it square to Anderson, laid back to Gvardiol. Nice little touch for Anderson on the left-hand side. Anderson now goes for the switch to Foden on halfway. That's a lovely first touch from Foden with his left boot. The ball stopped at the moment. Foden now gets away from Truefair. He's trying to actually. Truefair sticks to him like glue. And Foden goes down the centre circle. And the referee does blow his whistle for City free kick taken short from Gay. So yeah, Gay, you playing defence midfield with Anderson today. That should be very interesting. So Anderson sees a short free kick from Gay. Now in the deal with Donnarumma. It's just laced out to his left-hand side. Here is Diaz. Now Gvardiol. Gvardiol turns. Ryan putting pressure on. Now Semenyo midway inside us. Semenyo now just trying to make space for himself. Drift inside. Back to Diaz across central defence to Husinov. Now Foden whips it left-footed. Travels over halfway. Haaland making a run. Great strength from Erling Haaland against Hill. Now Haaland, he feeds it in the box. O'Reilly takes control. Well, actually, O'Reilly just gave Smith a nudge in the back. And the referee, Jared Gillett, has awarded a free kick to the Cherries. Again, it was a lovely whipped left-footed pass from Foden. Haaland had too much strength for Hill with his back to goal, 35 yards from the target. Haaland put the left-footed pass for O'Reilly. And O'Reilly just bumped into Smith. I'll tell you what, you say that's a bit of a soft free kick to give, but there was a slight bit of contact. It looks like Smith went down in slow motion, to be honest. So Petrovic free kick, header from Gay. Now Semenyo. Back on that left-hand side to Gvardiol. Anderson, just behind him now for Diaz on the edge of the Man City box. Being chased down for Evan Nilsson. Diaz pass, a little flick inside for Semenyo. First time from Gvardiol to Haaland. Haaland gets away from his man. Now Haaland surging through the centre. Haaland, Foden support. He uses Foden right side the area. What a flick from Foden. And a brilliant save from Petrovic. From Rico Lewis, who steamed into the box with his new blonde hair. Haaland, that was a long busting run through the heart of Bournemouth. Benitez right to Foden. Foden, delightful flick into the path of Rico Lewis in the area. Slight tight angle for Lewis, but Jordi Petrovic made himself big in his yellow kit, blocked with his chest. Corner kick for Manchester City, approaching the 4th minute here at the City of Manchester Stadium. So Phil Foden all set for the in-swinger. Can Man City get the first goal in the Enzo Maresca corner towards the back post, headed down to the ground, but bounces onto the roof of net. It was Nico O'Reilly, free head at the back stick, headed into the pristine turf here, and it just bounced onto the roof of Petrovic's net. But I'll tell you what, Marco Rosa will be unhappy with the mark in there. Nico O'Reilly actually got Man City's Player of the Year last season. Great achievement from Petrovic, goal kick. Ryan flicks on. Gvardiol nodded away. Now Scott heads towards Ryan. Ryan trying to turn down that right flank in the attacking third, but Ruben Diaz holds him off. Has to clear though, left-footed. Ball throws to the Cherries. So a chance for Bournemouth to cause some issues here. So it'll be a long throw. James Hill, he's the man who has that skill set. So let's see what can happen from this. 5 minutes on the clock here in Manchester. James Hill flings the throw towards near post, punched away for Donnarumma. And then O'Reilly lets it bounce in the area, brings it out of the box. O'Reilly now down the left flank for Semenyo. Semenyo, that's a great run over halfway, starting towards Semenyo. Semenyo clattered into there by Adam Smith. Free kick for Manchester City. And Adam Smith, not best pleased at that decision, but to be honest, there's not really much he can complain about. Great pace from Semenyo against Cook. Smith just came across and took out Semenyo. That's without doubt the correct decision to award a free kick. I think he's got away the yellow card though, with it being so early in the match. Jared Gillett just given a strong warning to Adam Smith. So it will be a free kick to be whipped in from the left-hand side from Manchester City. At 35 yards and goal, Phil Foden to deliver. Foden's outswinger, headed out the box from Smith. Tavernier chasing it down. And now it's headed out to left-hand side from Husinov to Semenyo. Back in City territory, just behind the centre circle. Husinov to Anderson. Anderson right-footed. Man City just in front of halfway. Lewis turns, strokes it back right-footed. Plenty of time on the ball for Husanov. And now it is Man City walking it into the penalty area with Diaz. Diaz, line-breaking pass, finds Lewis inside right. Out to Foden. City midway in the Cherries half. But Foden just lays it back to Husanov, about 4 yards behind halfway. So Husanov right-footed. After Diaz. Husanov again, just over halfway to Foden, square to Lewis. Again, Man City moved backwards. Lewis, which went down by Brighton, have scored against Aston Villa. Own goal from Victor Lindelof. So that's the other game going on in the league at the moment. So Man City building on the left-hand side now. Just over 7 minutes gone. Semenyo down line for O'Reilly. Click from the cross on the byline. Try for Haaland. Foden shot well blocked for Truffert. And then flicked on for Tavernier. And now Man City have it back in the centre circle. Evan Nilsson chasing down Diaz. Diaz goes backwards. And the only man behind him, of course, is Donnarumma. Husanov. And now Anderson. Jason to the centre circle in Man City's half. Now, just the front halfway, Gay. Gay was definitely fouled there from Tavernier. And that is a free kick to Manchester City coming up to the 8th minute. You're listening to off the studio-based off-view commentary of Manchester City against Bournemouth in England's top flight. Goalless at the moment, 8 minutes in. Free kick for Man City goes short. And a long ball from the centre circle from Diaz. It just about finds Semenyo. He's shielding off Smith. Semenyo now facing up Smith. Tricky feet. Ryan's there for company. Backwards on that left-hand side to O'Reilly. Now Gvardiol. So Man City midway in the Bournemouth half. Inside left channel with Diaz. Short and square to Gvardiol. Falls to Semenyo. Lays it behind him. Really poor there for Semenyo. And now Bournemouth can counter. Through the centre circle. Evan Nilsson has Tavernier in support. Man City getting men back. That's brilliant from Anderson. Pinched it off Evan Nilsson. Back to Donnarumma. Clips it now. Searching for Lewis. Header from Truffert. Nice touch there for Tavernier. Then Foden gets back. Takes it off him. Gay first time to Lewis. Man City deep inside their own half. Tavernier pressing Lewis on Man City's right. Lewis then tackled. That was a good tackle from Evan Nilsson. Peeling out in that left half out Tavernier. Tavernier backwards. It's in the Bournemouth half with Silva. So just in front of the halfway line with Scott. Scott again. Now Scott left-footed. It's in the middle defence here with Antonio Silva. And Petric has his right foot on top of the ball. Petric has an option to go into midfield to Scott. Petric brings it a couple of yards further forwards out of his box. Petric now floats over halfway towards the right. Ryan flicks on, no one making a run beyond him though. So here's Diaz. And Anderson always likes to get in between the two centre-backs. Now Anderson combines with Gay. Interesting midfield partnership that Maresca's gone for there. Husanov. Now Lewis. Man City still in their own half. Husanov turns onto his right foot. Square to Diaz. Coming up to the centre circle. We're coming up to the 10th minute here at the City of Manchester Stadium. Goalless here between Man City and Bournemouth. O'Reilly. Semenyo, about 7-8 yards in the Bournemouth half. Back to O'Reilly. And now Diaz. Bournemouth trying to push up here, but Diaz trying to play it through the Bournemouth press. Scott intercepts, then Husanov steps in, plays it towards the centre circle. Bournemouth now have it back. Is Hill. Square to Silva. Silva travels over halfway. Antonio Silva. Silva now trying to get down left-hand side. Anderson forcing Silva to go backwards on the halfway line in the shape of Alex Scott. Of course, Anderson and Scott did really well together national team level under 21s in a European competition they won together. Now it's a square from Scott and the attacking third to Truffert. Tavernier just over 25 yards from goal. Truffert backwards to Silva. Now a bit of possession for Bournemouth. Here's a left-footed pass to Silva. Centre circle where Hill has it. Hill now right-footed. Inside left is Tavernier. Trying to set away Truffert, but good work there from Lewis to close down the space. But Bournemouth enjoying possession at the moment. Silva to Hill. Now Semenyo pressing on Hill. Hill quickly goes square to Smith. Smith, high ball. Down the far side. Bounces away from Cliver. Header from Diaz. Reaches Gay. Gay holding off Ryan. Now Anderson turns and Man City's inside left. Receives it back from Husanov. Elliot Anderson and Gay wants it in between the lines, but Anderson goes a bit more safer to Gvardiol. Diaz. Man City just playing very slowly here. And Anderson in between the two centre-backs. Links up with Husnov. Anderson just behind the centre circle. Diagonal from Anderson. Can he pick out Semenyo? Headed down for Smith. Falls to Hill on a bit of room. Haaland couldn't close him down in time. Hill quickly laid it off to Silva. And Silva looked very composed on the ball here for Bournemouth. Square to Truffert. Truffert over halfway. And it's a well-kept in play there from Marcus Tavernier. That's in the centre circle with Scott. Scott looks out to the right-hand side. Control from Ryan. Ryan drifts in. So Ryan, 35 yards from goal. Here's Smith now in the attacking third. Smith balling towards Evan Nilsson, but very comfortable for Donnarumma to take on the 12th minute. It was very simple there for Gianluigi Donnarumma. Rolls it in his area to Diaz, just walking with the ball at the moment. If even that. Gvardiol. Man City building on left now. Nice turn from O'Reilly away from Cook. Now O'Reilly steaming down the left-hand side. Nico O'Reilly. What an athlete is O'Reilly now towards the byline. O'Reilly's ball. Haaland, it comes off his knee. Not enough power. Cleared away from Hill. Only as far as Anderson. Just over 25 yards out. Short square to Gay. Now Gvardiol, Man City, is slowing down the tempo. What a chance, Erling Haaland. Just bounced off his knee in the box. And Hill got it clear. Foden wide right. Inside to Husnov in the Bournemouth half now. Diaz in the centre circle. Husnov again. Picks out Foden, being well pressed here from Truffert. Foden has to go backwards to Diaz. It's gone to the feet of Gvardiol. Centre circle, Diaz. Loads right to Husnov. Now on halfway, Lewis. Lewis being charged down here. Tackle comes in for Truffert. It will be a throw to Manchester City. Just behind the halfway line, but what a run from O'Reilly a moment ago. Too much pace for Lewis Cook. Clipped it in. And it just actually looked like just kind of Erling Haaland's left hip. The weight of the cross was perfect from the far side from O'Reilly. Haaland steamed in between the two centre-backs, actually, so it came off Haaland's midriff. And it just kindly bounced to James Hill to slam it clear on the bounce. Ball on the attack, shot from Ryan. Right side of the box, and Donnarumma pushed it out. Left-handed for a corner kick. And Man City messing about the ball at the back, and then off went Bournemouth on the counter. Kluivert's pass deflected off of Diaz into the path of Ryan. Right side of the penalty area. Was a tight angle. Good power he got in the shot. But Donnarumma got a strong left hand to push it out for a corner kick. Yeah, Gvardiol started that all off for this poor distribution out of defence. So corner on the right hand side. But Alex got to take. And Bournemouth get the Marco Rosa era off in style. Scott low corner. Cleared from O'Reilly, only as far as Scott. Plays it back inside right to Tavernier. Tavernier looking towards the back post. Silva tries to keep it alive with his head, but in the end it does go out of touch. But a Manchester City goal kick. It's a hard header there for Antonio Silva. Again, most goals after 200 appearances in this league for one club. It's Erling Haaland on 162. Ruud van Nistelrooy the next best on 143. And there's Lewis. That's a straight pass on Lewis. Evan Nilsson intercepts, but it bounced off Evan Nilsson to Diaz. Finds Haaland just behind the centre circle. Square from Haaland to Gvardiol. Gvardiol put too much on that. Pass to Semenyo. There's no way that Semenyo was going to get onto that. Just in the last few minutes, Bournemouth start to come back into it. Now Man City pressing it with Petrovic. Left side Bournemouth defence. Silva, that's a poor pass. Anderson heads down. And now it's a Man City player trying to get off the ground. It's actually Anderson who slits. But does link up with Lewis. So Maxime de Kuiper has put Brighton 2-0 up against Aston Villa in the other game going on in the English top flight. It's on the centre spot here with Ruben Diaz. Goalless here at the City-Manchester Stadium. Anderson now finds Lewis inside right. Foden trying to cut inside his pass, blocked from Truffert. Foden wins it back in the attacking third, but rolls nicely for Evan Nilsson to play it out to Scott. Scott again, just trying to fend off Rico Lewis. Good pressing here from Lewis. Scott, though, does create a bit of room for himself. Turns down the left-hand side. Bit too heavy, though, for Tavernier. Foden now and Phil for Gay. Mark Gay, just over 35 yards from goal. Lewis back to Foden. So there's Elliot Anderson to square it to Ruben Diaz. All the outfield Man City players in the Bournemouth half. Again, Semenyo has Ryan and Alan Smith. Let's try and block him off, but Semenyo goes a few yards behind him to Gvardiol. Man City inside left, 35 yards from goal. That's again in the centre of Anderson, pops out wide to Foden. Edge of the box, Foden now towards the byline, cross, blocked from Truffert. And it will be a corner kick. Oh, Truffert is down in pain here, actually, as well as Bill Foden. So it was Foden who just took it down the line. And actually, I think Foden may have stolen the ankle. Truffert, it was a brilliant block. Actually, Foden landed a bit awkwardly after standing on Truffert. He's still on his ankle, and Truffert moving a bit gingerly. Foden's fine as well. He'll take the short corner on the right-hand side. 17.5 minutes gone. Just a reminder, if you are watching this game as well as listening, make sure you are watching it through your local broadcaster. You are listening to independent, studio-based, off-stream commentary of Man City against Bournemouth in England's top flight. And this is the first game in the league of the post-Pep Guardiola era. Foden's corner punched away from Petrovic, bounced off the chest of Lewis. Lewis goes down inside the box, and off Nagachi. Something has been given. It's a free kick against Rico Lewis. I think Lewis insinuating he was pushed on the chest, but I think he made a push first on Justin Kluivert, being a bit quiet the first 80 minutes. Yeah, so much made about Enzo Maresca's first league game in charge again. You know, Antonio Iraola, what a knack that is to follow. Again, he was tremendous for Bournemouth. So it's a free kick for Petrovic. Bounce off of Rico Lewis. And Marco Rose has a European campaign to look forward to. Bournemouth competing in Europe's second-tier club competition. Go for Truffert, about 10 yards in the City half, backwards on the near side to Scott. Anderson trying to press on Scott's now with Petrovic just in front of his area. Clips it down the inside right. Gay gets the call from Diaz to Duck. And now Ruben Diaz into Victor Gvardiol. By Bournemouth in the major European leagues have the longest unbeaten league run, 18 games. Second is Bayern Munich on 15. Foden backwards to Husinov. Now it's moved across the defensive line to Diaz. 90 minutes played here at the City-Manchester Stadium in the glorious sunshine. Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 0. It is O'Reilly. Floats looking over the top for Semenyo. Smith lets the ball bounce. Smith has it down though, just about got the contact he wanted. Hill lifts it away. And Man City about 5-6 yards in the Bournemouth half though. O'Reilly, now Anderson. Again, Anderson searching for a switch. Not too much on that ball though from Anderson to Foden. And Elliot Anderson is going to be really under the microscope after this 160 million move in Nottingham Forest. And he doesn't make the price tag. He's just got to deal with that pressure when it comes of playing at one of the top clubs for a price like that. Petrovic clips over halfway, nodded forwards from Gvardiol. Held up on halfway from Gay, prods it behind him. Stepping forwards is Diaz to make the tackle now. Rolls in the path for O'Reilly, a little bit of space inside left. Lifts over the top, looking for Haaland. It's cleared away from Truffert. Just moved in field from full back to clear it right-footed square for a throw on Man City's left-hand side. Ryan is down in pain at the moment. It was really smart defending there from Adrian Truffert. It's concern there for Marco Rosa though, with the pain that Ryan's in. And Ryan went for a tackle with Ruben Diaz, and Diaz, just a little kick at Ryan actually. Gay stepped in there with a challenge as well. Yeah, I think Diaz just hit the back of Ryan's right leg. That's when it broke to O'Reilly, tried to set away Haaland. He's back on his feet now, Ryan, which is a relief. Everyone associated with Bournemouth, such a huge asset for them. So Gvardiol's throw, that was on the left for Semenyo. Again, Semenyo drifting in, going backwards here, finds Husinov just by the centre circle. Husinov now rolls it 7 yards forwards to Foden. Get Foden under pressure from Tavernier. Tavernier dispossessed him, and then a tackle comes in from Anderson, who clears for a throw. And that was good work there from Anderson to sense the danger. In fact, actually, Foden just pulled Truffert before that though, so it's actually a free kick for Bournemouth. Truffert tapped it to Scott. Now it's with Silva, just moved to the right side of the centre back for the time being. Silva's pass well read from on halfway from Gavardio, then Cook steps in with a tackle. And a shot on target apiece in this match so far. Heavy pass there from Gavardio to O'Reilly, bounced off them. Tavernier by the centre circle. Again, a clip ball on the left-hand side. It will reach Trufair. The left back's facing up Foden, now looking behind him. Finds it, finds Tavernier. So Bournemouth now 35 yards on goal with Cook. Goes behind him to Hill. Cook, Hill again in the centre circle. Hill plays it across the halfway line to his partner Silva. And then Scott backwards to Petrovic, who's outside his area. 22 minutes played here in Manchester. It is City 0, Bournemouth 0. So here's Cook and pressurised from O'Reilly and Gavardio, but manages to find the pass to Ryan. Now Ryan down the right flank, chance for a low cross to come into Scott, intercepted though from Elliot Anderson, and Ryan just undercooked that ball in, just gave Anderson the chance to intercept, and Man City can calm themselves down. That was good there from Bournemouth. Anderson, and just squares it to the feet of Husnov. Foden back Husnov, and Tavernier moving towards him, and now Donnarumma. Man City just had that time now. Diaz just slowly walking the ball in defence. Now Gay right-footed. Man City still in their half. Gavardio. Gay on square into the feet of Diaz. Gay now, right foot on top of the ball. Gay can try and find a long-range pass. He's looking for Erling Haaland, sandwiching in between two Bournemouth defenders. Silva intercepts, and it's gone backwards into the feet of Petrovic and Smith. Petrovic drives it right-footed. It's a simple touch shown halfway for Joško Gavardio. And Husnov in the centre circle. A very light pass to Anderson. Walks it over the halfway line. Anderson looks for Haaland. He's dispossessed now. Second ball forced to Gay. Gay now inside left. And short and square for Semenyo. City in the attacking third. Semenyo heading towards the byline. Gets away from Smith as the tackle comes in for Ryan. And that was well timed there. I think he got enough of the ball, Ryan. And it may have gone off Semenyo last. And I think it is a goal kick for Manchester City. Just a bit confused for a split second. The referee was pointing. What was he pointing to the spot? But no. Ryan got a touch on the ball. If that gone for Semenyo last year, that would have been a corner kick. Great bursting run for Semenyo away from Smith. Well, it was Ryan who touched it last, and I'm surprised that hasn't been given as a corner kick to Manchester City. So Petrovic looking for Ryan from the goal kick. Header met from Diaz. Bounces out of touch for a throw to Bournemouth, but did a solid job here, Bournemouth. And Man City have had their moments, but not too many. And best one was O'Reilly cross, just came off the left hip of Erling Haaland, and Hill got it clear. So Bournemouth skipper Smith rode down the right. Evan Nilsson trapped it in the Bournemouth half to Cook. And now Petrovic receives it from Hill. Again, good pressing from Man City. Petrovic to Scott, first time to Hill, and Bournemouth played through the press. Cook now to Smith. Smith, bending ball, looking for Evan Nilsson down the right. Evan Nilsson shot away from the ball, and that falls to Ryan in the centre. Ryan square to Evan Nilsson, right side of the box. Evan Nilsson's cross, Tavernier in! And Bournemouth strike first in Manchester. Marcus Tavernier. And that's not a bad way to kick off the Marco Rosa era. Brilliant work from Bournemouth. Tavernier finished off, but Ryan played a key part, squaring out to Evan Nilsson. And Tavernier there at the back post. Incredible moment for Bournemouth to get their first league goal of the season. And the pressure's already on Enzo Maresca, as it is replacing such an iconic manager. But going a goal down in your first league game, which is at home as well, far from ideal, of course. Ryan picked up a central position. Again, turned, found Evan Nilsson in room. Again, Husnov was drawn to Ryan. Was drawn to Evan Nilsson. That was when the space opened up for Ryan. in the middle, 25 yards from goal. Get Evan Nilsson. That was a perfect ball as well from Evan Nilsson. Cross the face of goal. Marcus Tavernier unmarked to the back stick. And he just finished with aplomb, left-footed, couldn't miss from there. Did his goal swing celebration. And the Man City fans absolutely shell-shocked. They go direct from the restart. And it just trickles back to Petrovic. Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 1. So let's see what this City team has made under Maresca. Last week in Cardiff, they absolutely crumbled against Arsenal. Header from Husanoff and Bournemouth's long ball. Now Riley, inside left. Can Man City make it a swift response? Good tackle there from Kluivert, right-footed. Trying to turn away for Semenyo. Kluivert goes down. Semenyo gets it off and no free kick in the Dutchman's favour. Semenyo now trying to get around Smith. Semenyo goes down on the byline. And there was not enough in that. And I think Smith just letting Semenyo knows what he thought of that from him. Smith make it very clear he thought Semenyo was trying to buy a penalty. And there was a little pull back on the arm, but I wouldn't say it was enough for a penalty. That would have been very soft. No, that's Maresca obviously was screaming for it, but we're feeling a bit desperate at the moment. Now it's towards halfway from Hill. Evan Nilsson helps it on with the back of his head. Anderson goes down. No free kick given though in Anderson's favour. Ryan, here's Scott. Ryan likes to pick up those central areas actually. In fact, Ryan still sticking in the middle at the moment. True fair for Tavernier. Now Cook. Short and square to Silva. The Bournemouth have grown into this match really well. And certainly worthy of their one goal advantage. So they look to kick off their English top flight campaign with a victory. Been some victory as well, they can get it. Scott, pass just went across the face of him in the centre circle with Tavernier. So Man City have it back. Foden just goes more central now to give it to Gay. Anderson turns in the centre circle. Anderson pushing it back there from Evan Nilsson. And Jared Gillett just ways play on. Lewis back through Anderson. Actually now the referee has pulled it back for a free kick to the Citizens, who find themselves a goal down. Just a reminder, if you are watching the match as well as listening to us, make sure you are watching it through your local broadcaster. And again, you are listening to independent, studio-based offshoot commentary of Man City against Bournemouth. Again, new eras for both clubs, and new managers. And so far, it's going better for Bournemouth. Short free kick from Man City. 3 yards behind halfway. Cavani to Semenyo. Again, just strokes it back to Diaz. Now Diaz again flips it right-footed. Now left wing adjacent with the box with O'Reilly. O'Reilly lifts it. Nodded away from True Fair to safety. Header from Gay goes square into the inside right. Tavernier, nice balance. Then Foden puts in a tackle. Tavernier slides it. Now Lewis nicks off at Tavernier. Lewis turns right side of the box. Back for Foden. Now it's been held up here from Gay. Gay though, in the end, lose it against Scott. Scott skips over the challenge. Actually clipped down in the end from Elliot Anderson. And so far, I have to say, Scott's getting slightly better. His fellow countryman Anderson in that midfield battle. Anderson just feeling a shoulder here. So free kick for the Cherries to take. Half hour gone here. Sunny Manchester. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. By the way, in the other game going on at the moment in England's first tier, Jack Hinchelwood got a third for Brighton against Aston Villa. And now Bournemouth play at the back. Hill's pass intercepted from Nico O'Reilly. So again, Aston Villa having an awful opening league game of the season. O'Reilly, that was to Husanoff. So 4-0 to Brighton by Jack Hinchelwood with a double, 2 in the space of a minute. Incredible stuff. So it's going well for the South Coast teams today in England's top division. Semenyo, again Kluivert and Smith following him. Semenyo plays it back on the left-hand side to Gvardiol. City are in the attacking third. Gay, it's not massively working with Gay in midfield. So Ruben Diaz. Diaz, just over 30 yards and goal. Pings it now to Foden. Edge of the box on the right. Foden now, just inside the area. Foden clips in. Easy head away for Silva. Comes off Tavernier. Anderson steps in. But just came off Anderson's right boot. Header out to left-hand side from True Fair for Tavernier. Poor pass there from True Fair. Husanoff read it. Husanoff to Foden. And Foden just lifts it back on the halfway line to Diaz. Pokes it to Anderson. Anderson now line-breaking pass on the inside right for Lewis. And now Phil Foden, dancing feet, cutting in. Foden coming up to the D. Foden out. Well, he thought he was clattered into there, Foden, nothing given. And then Anderson puts a tackle on Evan Nilsson. Falls to Scott, trying to set away Ryan. Ryan's got the pace. That's a well-timed sliding challenge there from Josko Gvardiol. Had to get that one right. Diaz to Gvardiol. Gvardiol now room to run into. On left-hand side, coming up to the attacking third. Gvardiol skips away from a challenge. Square to Anderson. Foden with his back towards goal. Anderson again. And Man City just over 25 yards from goal. Now about 30 with Diaz. Semenyo kind of wiggling between two players. Semenyo, though, runs into trouble in the end with Cook dispossessing him. So Lewis Cook looking down the right-hand side. Pass deflects off a Gay. Evan Nilsson beaten to the punch by Diaz. Now time on the ball for Mark Gay. Coming up to the halfway line. Gay, left-footed. Anderson takes it into the centre circle. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. Just over 32 minutes on the clock here at the City of Manchester Stadium. Foden infield to Anderson. Anderson now right-footed, looking over the top at Haaland. Header from Silva. Good tackle there on Lewis from Scott. Now Anderson intercepts Scott's pass. Anderson finds Lewis right side of the box. Low ball for Lewis, cleared away from Cook. Only as far as Foden. Good pressure from Man City. Haaland in the D. Haaland shot blocked from Silva. Now calm pass from Truffert to try and set Tavernier away. Tavernier, too much pace for Anderson. Tavernier takes heavy touch, and that invites Husanov to get there and take the ball. Husanov has excellent pace and certainly one of his biggest assets. And Man City just trying to calm it down the back. Diaz to Gay. Gay in the centre circle. Picks out Rico Lewis. Man City just under 40 yards in goal. Inside right channel with Lewis. And just squares on his outside to Foden. Anderson. Anderson now just ahead of the centre circle. Moves it to his left to Diaz. Now O'Reilly. His pass just comes off the referee actually, so that Gary Gillett quickly blows his whistle. It'll be a drop ball from the referee for Manchester City to start things again. Gay to Gvardiol. Now here is Ruben Diaz in possession. 4 shots from Man City to Bournemouth 2. One of them going in the back of net. Bournemouth actually got both those shots on target as well. And then Foden takes the ball out of bounds and tried to take it beyond this man, but so far Foden's he jigged inside a few times, but hasn't really got any threatening shots off, and pressure on Man City director football Hugo Viana to get things right in this window. And have agreed a fee for Moroccan midfielder Ayoubuari. So that will be a much welcome addition to the Manchester City midfield. Bournemouth go long and Man City have it back now with Gvardiol. So here is Man City right side defence with Husanov. Anderson in the centre circle, left-footed, clipped towards runner Foden. Truffert takes it down his chest. Truffert again, nice calm pass to Alex Scott. Scott now right-footed, over halfway to Tavernier. Truffert steaming forwards in behind of Lewis, but Truffert then offside. Tavernier couldn't release him, so he goes back to Scott. Cook, Scott again. And so comfortable the ball, silky feet Alex Scott. Scott down left-hand side. Truffert has got the pace to get there. Even Truffert, certainly not shy of pace. Couldn't get onto that Scott pass. Slightly over here. Jack Grealish just in conversation with Omar Mamouche on the Man City bench. Interesting to see if Grealish will get a big chance on the Brescia this season. 10 minutes left this first half. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. Opening league game of the season. Semenyo travels over halfway, great pace, and Semenyo breezes away from Cook. Semenyo now down the line for O'Reilly in the box. O'Reilly towards the back stick. Foden couldn't quite control the ball with his right foot. It was a bit high for him. Foden now collects on the right hand side, crossing for loose. That's too high for Haaland. And a flick there from Hill. And O'Reilly lets it run out for a Man City throw on the left hand side. A bit of pressure on the home side. Josko Gvardiol goes to Gay. Gvardiol again. Just plays it back here for Ruben Diaz. Now first time inside, Man City in the attacking third. Gvardiol combining with Diaz and Gay. That's a straight pass from Diaz, and then a push there from Elliot Anderson on Evan Nilsson. That was probably a push that Anderson had to make. Otherwise, Evan Nilsson would have been trying to get away into the Man City half. Certainly, Man City had a fair few sloppy moments this half, hence why they are a goal down. Silva short free kick to Scott. And then pitched away for Evan Nilsson from Husnoff, and now Anderson first time to Haaland. Haaland, 35 yards on goal. Man City want him a lot closer to the target than that. Semenyo goes in field to Gvardiol. Gay. Then looks out wide to Antoine Semenyo. Semenyo, 2 men around him, plays it in between them though. O'Reilly now to Gvardiol. Gay asking for it. Then it goes to O'Reilly. Gvardiol again. Left-footed now. It is Ruben Diaz. Man City now right in the centre of the Bournemouth half, just under 40 yards from goal. Now wide right with Foden. Goes to Husnoff. Sends circle with Diaz. Then Bournemouth nicely in their shape here. Gvardiol strokes the left-footed now. There's O'Reilly backwards here to Diaz. Still in the centre circle, Ruben Diaz. Then he floats it towards the box. Headed away from Truffert. Anderson trying to get onto it. Does get a toe end onto the ball, out to the right hand side, but too much contact in the end for that stretching pass from Anderson with his right boot. And that will nicely do for Bournemouth as we're approaching the 38th minute here at the City of Manchester Stadium. Opening league game of the season. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. And now Truffert, Petrovic being chased down from Haaland. Petrovic quickly has to just clear it out to his right hand side for throw. Again, Truffert played the back to Petrovic, and that was a steaming run from Haaland to pressurise the Bournemouth goalkeeper. Throw from City. And they are just over 25 yards from goal. Gvardiol picks up Gay. Gay holding off Scott Gay now. Edge of the box now. Gay trying to be forced away from goal from Smith, and Smith does drag Gay out wide. Semenyo backwards here to Diaz. Diaz puts him across. Haaland had a good save from Petrovic to his left-hand side. A bit more like it from Manchester City. And it was a ball lifted towards Haaland, held off Silva. Haaland guided it towards Dori Petrovic. Bottom left-hand corner, Petrovic covered that one well. Pushed it out for a corner on the right-hand side for Phil Foden to take. Easy header out the box for Hill, and now for Bournemouth counter. Have it with Kluivert. Face not Anson, Kluivert away from him. And now chance for Kluivert to drill it across the attacking third. Here's a chance for Bournemouth to take a shot off, and it's just wide. Tavernier inside right with his left foot. It was a brilliant pass from Kluivert from the left-hand side. Tavernier took it on with his left boot. Around about 24 yards from goal. Used Gvardiol as a decoy, and it was bending outwards and then almost went into the bottom corner when it swerved back inside. Anderson has it in the deep. That was really good there from Bournemouth. Whip from Foden, too high for Haaland. And from Silva, bouncing towards the halfway line. Truffert gets to it before Elliot Anderson does. 5 minutes left of this first half. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. It is Bournemouth in midfield with Cook. Square to Smith. Smith right footed now. Bit of room for Ryan. Ryan can take on Ruben Diaz. Now Ryan, that's a lovely way to pass to Kluivert in the box. Kluivert, pass it towards goal, pushed away from Donnarumma. And then the clearance completed from Gay. Bournemouth racking up the chances here. There could be a couple ahead. So Truffert back to Silva. I spell this for Bournemouth. Scott in the centre circle in this half. Square to Smith. Now back to the right side of centre back with Hill. Cross to Silva. And Silva's been brilliant. He's going to be a really good addition for Bournemouth this season. So Silva actually, Comte's got a struck there. The diagonal ball from Silva. Far too overhit to Ryan. Speaking of Ryan, he made that brilliant pass to Kluivert, who was left side of the box a moment ago, free. Tried to pass it into Donnarumma's bottom left. Donnarumma pushed it away pretty comfortably in the end. Was under hit from Kluivert. Donnarumma sort of passed it high into the air. So it was a side foot pass, and Donnarumma. It's a flick from Hill back to Petrovic. Petrovic square to Hill. Hill now goes for a direct route. Chesses down the centre circle from Evan Nilsson. Tackle made from Gay, and now it rolls kindly for Elliot Anderson. Inside right. Anderson just over 25 yards on goal. Anderson to Foden, who is behind the D. And now Semenyo into the air. Semenyo, drinking feet. Semenyo then takes heavy touch, and Hill comes in with the challenge. Clip from Scott. Search for Evan Nilsson, but nodded down from Husinov. So City trying to pin Bournemouth back after Bournemouth had a couple of good chances in the last few minutes. And City with Anderson inside left. Just over 35 yards from goal. Elliot Anderson. And Evan Nilsson coming towards him. And now Man City under pressure. It was Husinov on the ball, but it was Evan Nilsson running out towards him as well. And then Kluivert comes in with a tackle on Lewis, and Man City have the throw just in front of the halfway line with 2.5 minutes left in this first half. Just a reminder, if you are watching the game as well as listening, make sure you are watching through your local broadcaster. You listen to independent studio-based off-due commentary with Man City against Bournemouth, where the Cherries are leading by goal to nil through Marcus Tavernier, opening goal of the Marco Rosa era. So Husinov slowly coming forwards. He's in the attacking third, but again Bournemouth have everyone back here. It's a red and black wall. That's Man City trying to get through it, and Anderson's cross cleared away from Smith. Now it's edge of the box for Semenyo. Received it from Gay. Back inside to Mark Gay. And now Gay looking towards the back post. Flicked away for a corner kick from Trufair. Climbing above Foden. It's the two January signings for Man City. Semenyo and Gay combining, then that cross, searching for Foden at the back post, but Trufair nice and alert to flick it out for a corner, which Phil Foden will take. So, can Foden put the right delivery in here? So Phil Foden now looks for Gay. Gay wins the first contact, falls to Haaland. Haaland gets a shot away, but well wide. Again, he was battling with Hill. He did well to actually get a shot off Haaland. And miles wide of Petrovic's left-hand post here. Gay won the first head, Haaland controlled, and shot on the turn left-footed. Hill did really well to put off Erling Haaland. So we're now in the last minute of normal time this first half. It's not been a good one for Enzo Maresca's side. They're not out of sight though. That's sure. Bournemouth had a few chances that Prime puts beyond Man City. Headed away from Diaz, then flick from Ryan again. Diaz gets his helmet on the bounce, played forward to Husinov. Haaland holds off Silva, gives it to O'Reilly. Well-timed challenge there from Hill. Now it's a bit of a bundle there. Seen a few players on the halfway line. Gay now comes away with it, but he's going backwards, and now finally the referee points a free kick. Bournemouth has a bit of a scuffle between some of the players here. Again, Bournemouth have a man down, but it was a real scrap for the ball on the halfway line. And the referee just trying to calm things down. He was getting feisty. Team both sets of players. To see who that is who's down for Bournemouth at the moment. The two captains called across by Jared Gillett, just 1 minute of add-on time. So Haaland was shielding off Silva, gave it to Cook, he intercepted it. Hill then came with the challenge, and again Cook was trying to get back off the ground when O'Reilly tried to tackle, and then Gay came with the tackle, and Gay was pushed into by Evan Nilsson. It was Evan Nilsson who went down. Now I think he was insinuating that there was a push on his face. Well, actually, I have to say, Josko Vardy, although Evan Nilsson, pretty dramatic, there was a raised arm from Josko Vardy to Evan Nilsson. Well, Evan Nilsson picked up a yellow card, and so did Gavardio, which I think is pretty fair from Jared Gillett. Yeah, certainly not. I wouldn't call that a red card offence, Gavardio. So, again, the referees don't get too much credit, but certainly credit Jared Gillett for giving just both yellow cards there. Short free kick from Man City, which will frustrate the fans. Husinov now to Foden. Foden down line. Is there a chance here for Man City? Can Lewis get a ball in? Lewis, he does get a ball in the box. Diving header away from Silva. Breaks here for Husinov. Diaz free in the middle. Now Diaz whipped it in towards Gvardiol, but easy take there for Petrovic. It's been 20 seconds over the minute because of that instant referee to give the two players yellow cards. A little bit extra time this first half. Petrovic lays out in front himself, just about clears it. Almost a real mistake there from Petrovic, who's been closed down instantly. Now Anderson has it just in front of halfway. Man City moving it through midfield. O'Reilly to Foden. Gets a touch behind him to Gay. Now it's a turn here from O'Reilly. Quick play from Man City. So one last chance in this first half. Then Semenyo trying to combine with O'Reilly. Clear from Ryan. Only as far as Gvardiol. Gvardiol's cross. Haaland climbs. Heads it back in the centre. Flicked away though from the other number 9 on the pitch, Evan Nilsson. And now just being held up here by Tavernier. This possession from Anderson. And then a free kick has been given against Elliot Anderson, who's not pleased about that. Same as Rico Lewis had a good view. So again, crossing towards the back post. Haaland won the header. And well, I think Man City were appealing for a penalty actually. Lewis thought he was nudged into by Scott. Didn't really see too much in that. And there goes the half-time whistle blown by Jared Gillett. But again, the Enzo Maresca era, not off a good start. Defeat last week in Cardiff against Arsenal. And a goal down to Bournemouth at half-time. But again, with their new manager, of course, they'll want to get off to that perfect start. Had that seamless transition from Andoni Iraola, I have to say. I've been very, very impressed with Bournemouth so far. Certainly worthy their one-goal advantage. Tavernier finishing home on mark to the back post after Evan Nilsson played it across the base of goal. Man City are putting a lot of crosses, but Bournemouth have dealt with them pretty well. There was a chance at Haaland where it just came off his left hip. Again, should have done better with that. There's been a few moments for Man City, but really there's just been a lot of balls in the box and need to be a bit more inventive at open play. And then Maresca, so half-time here at the City Manchester Stadium. Big half-time team talk for Enzo Maresca. Desperate to get off that winning start from the home supporters, but so far so good for the Cherries. Lead by goal to nil at the break. Hello and welcome back to the City of Manchester Stadium. Enzon Reska with his first league half-time team talk, and certainly was not the first half they wanted. Great first half, and Bournemouth, their first in the league under Marco Rosa. Tavernier's goal separating the two sides, and Man City get us underway in the sunshine for the second half. Donnarumma's long ball headed away from Hill, and here's Gvardiol to Diaz. Now back here to Donnarumma, square. Now across the back line, it's gone long to Semenyo, head up in the air from Smith. Not on halfway for Cook. Now Gvardiol heads down. Again, Cook hits it first time, but cuts out from Diaz. Now Diaz, just over the halfway line to Lewis. Rico Lewis now, just assessing his options. Foden moves inside for him. Foden collects it. Man City in the centre circle with Ruben Diaz. It's gone square to Husnov. Lewis. Husnov again. First time to Foden. Phil Foden. Again, it's a light pass to Anderson. Anderson turns, now finds Lewis some room in the attacking third on the far side. Man City building possibly something here. Oh, Anderson leaves it for Gay. Not Gay. Goes back to Husnov though. Man City be hoping for a quick start in the second half. Enzon Reska want to win as quickly as possible. Gay squares it. Again, first time from Husnov. Lewis infield for Anderson. Anderson crossing, can't find Haaland though. Heading out the box and Silva. Tavernier goes back to Truffert. Truffert, that's a nice bit of skill to get beyond Lewis. Just wrong-footed him. And then Tavernier's pass blocked from Gay. He runs back in his own half unopposed. Just a reminder, by the way, if you are watching the game as well as listening, make sure you are watching through your local broadcaster. Listen to independent, Stuart-based off-due commentary of Man City against Bournemouth, opening league game of the season. Bournemouth leading by 1-0. Diaz picks up Aurelian halfway, combines with Anderson. Anderson now has to turn back in his own half. Again, Ryan all over the back of him. 2 minutes gone in the second half. Anderson, right foot on top of the ball. Here is Diaz. Square to Gay. Diaz again. Anderson by the centre circle. Man City still in their half. Let's go Gvardiol. Gvardiol finds Semenyo on the halfway line. Has to go back though to Gvardiol. Controls with his right knee. 2.5 minutes gone this half. Man City now just having possession at the back. Donnarumma. Square to Diaz. Diaz, that's a nice pass to find Semenyo on halfway. Semenyo can turn, look forwards here. Semenyo has the infield run of O'Reilly. Semenyo goes down. There was enough contact there from Mill for Jared Gillett to blow his whistle. Quick free kick taken now from Man City. Semenyo midway in the Cherries half. Backwards to Gvardiol. Goes the switch of play. Too far ahead of Lewis though. Andrew Fair will just let that bounce out of touch for Bournemouth throw. Just to let you know, by the way, in the other league game going on, Brighton are 4-0 up against 10-man Aston Villa. But the thing is, the sending off for João Gomez actually came after the fourth goal. So not the start Villa wanted at all. It is Rico Lewis. That's Lewis to Husnov. Prods it to Anderson again. Husnov's been closed down. The flash from Tavernier. Now it's with Gvardiol. Anderson traps it in the centre circle. Now Man City here on the right hand side. Lovely turn there for Lewis from Husnov's pass. And then a challenge comes in from Cook, reading the play well. Man City throw just behind just in front of the halfway line for Rico Lewis to take. 4 minutes played in the second half. Lewis throws it back here. It's the path of Ruben Diaz. Square to Gvardiol. Gvardiol now flips it towards left hand side. Trapped from Semenyo with his back towards goal. And Semenyo plays it towards the halfway line. Gvardiol controls. Diaz, square for Husnov. Uppercut to Husnov. Now over halfway to Foden. Foden. Again, Truffert closing him down, but Foden combines with Lewis. Tidy feet from Phil Foden. Now Foden holds off Truffert. Foden now drills it way too hard towards left hand side. Not a chance Semenyo was going to get onto that again. Foden, nice footwork, but again, he's just not had that any final product to cause Bournemouth any issues so far. So interesting to see how early Enzo Maresca will look to his bench at this rate. He does have an iron shirky. Jack Grealish as maverick type players come and cause problems. Anderson square to O'Reilly. Now Man City 3 yards behind the centre circle with Diaz. Anderson. Can Anderson pick out the right forward pass? Goes short to Haaland. Haaland now square to Gay. Man City left wing with Semenyo. Semenyo now trying to get into the box. Smith gets himself in between Semenyo and the ball. Smith appealing that he should have a free kick, but it came off Smith last, and the officials have given a corner. Yeah, it came off Smith's right ankle. He's saying he was pushed. Semenyo didn't really see too much in that. Elliot Anderson getting a nice little round of applause from the Man City fans. Trying to welcome their new man here to the blue side of Manchester. Was heavily linked with the red side of Manchester. So Elliot Anderson, corner in for the right side, headed wide. How's Mark Gay not found the back of the net and level things up for Man City? Anderson drilled in the corner. Petrovic got himself in a right state there. Anderson whipped it in right foot to Petrovic, slipped. And all the Bournemouth players were expecting their goalkeepers to deal with it. Gay unopposed, it bounced off his chest at the back post. Gay just waltzed in. No one watched him. How has he not hit the target from there at the very least? But really, that should be at the back of the net. No question. Now Gay gets it back after Bournemouth's goal kick. Haaland now wide to Semenyo. Semenyo cuts in. Semenyo wrong foot. Smith does get a toe in on the ball. Semenyo taken out wide now. Back to Gvardio's left-footed pass. Too much on it for Semenyo. And it's a Bournemouth goal kick. But Mark Gay, he was just in disbelief at how he did not find the back of the net. An absolute dream for him. Free head at the back post. Couldn't really ask for anything more from a corner kick. Mighty let off there for Dordy Petrovic. Although, who on earth was marking Mark Gay? And now Man City cutting from left for Semenyo. Semenyo looking towards Haaland at the back post. Flicked away for a corner kick. Silva, I think, was saying he was pushed from Haaland. That nothing in that. And Silva flicked it behind him. So corner on the right-hand side this time for Man City. So that means Phil Foden will take it. And he'll go short to Anderson. Foden again. Foden now line up the ball into the box. Looking for Diaz. Diaz heads down the 6-yard area. Cleared away, though, by the Cherries. It was Silva. Hoided away left-footed. This is more like it, though, from Man City. Now pinning back Bournemouth, looking for that equaliser. Who's not right-footed? It is Rico Lewis in the centre circle to Elliot Anderson. Short and square to Foden. Back to Lewis in the centre circle. Square across the halfway line to Diaz, left-footed to O'Reilly. Tracks that with his left foot. Again, that was to Diaz. Good work from Evan Nilsson, pushing the Man City Man City backwards. Donnarumma in the D. And now Diaz won't go direct. Straight towards midfield. Can't find Gay, though. Intercepted from Evan Nilsson inside right. And now Ryan in the centre. Pokes it underneath Anderson. Then Kluivert and Ryan can't combine. And now Foden to O'Reilly. O'Reilly outside the right boot. Finds Haaland in the centre circle. Haaland now plays that under the legs of Foden. O'Reilly inside left. Worked out to Semenyo. So Man City, edge of the box. Semenyo cuts in. Semenyo. Can he maybe get shot off against his former team? No, he can't get around Smith. And Smith gets the free kick. Good defend there for Adam Smith. I mean, Semenyo by far has the greater pace. Adam Smith would have got obviously no training with him a ridiculous amount of times. But certainly that was a foul there from Semenyo. Couldn't get around Smith. Bundled his former captain down to the ground. There is a free kick to the Cherries. Petrovic towards Tavernier. We've got the first touch right, then Anderson steps in with a challenge. Now Lewis being pressurised in Truffert. Truffert puts in a tackle. Did it come off Truffert Lewis last? It did come off Adrien Truffert. In fact, actually Truffert gave away a free kick. There was a pull on Rico Lewis' shirt in the referee's eyes. So Lewis free kick is given into the feet of Ruben Diaz. Diaz now walking towards the centre circle. Instead of playing it through the middle, squares it to Husinov. Diaz to Kode Husinov. It's right footed now. Whip there from Foden, trying to set away Haaland, but Silva read that pretty easily, actually. And yeah, Silva volleyed it out for a throw with his right boot. Throw will be taken 2 or 3 yards in front of the halfway line, and actually the referee just blew his whistle. Wants Lewis to take another step or two backwards. 10 minutes gone in this second half. Man City trail Bournemouth by a goal to 0. Pass from Anderson, deflects though into Antonio Silva. It's a flick from Evan Nilsson, tidy feet from Scott. In between his fellow Englishmen, Foden and Anderson. And now Cook to Truffert, back in the Bournemouth box with Silva. Now here is Petrovic. Petrovic clips it, looking towards the halfway line. Powerful header from Ruben Diaz, but that will do for Bournemouth. Header went straight out of play. So, substitution here. Manchester City, Matheus Nunes is the first player. Enzo Maresca has called upon to come on this afternoon, so Rico Lewis makes way. That's an interesting one. Let's see how that will change the game. So could this first league sub for Enzo Maresca work a treat? You can see Smith's throw. Pass away for Evan Nilsson, he's still chasing down the ball. Flick from Diaz. Now Gvardiol. Again, Ryan all over the back of him. Gvardiol can't get away from Ryan though. Now Ryan shielding the ball out for a throw against O'Reilly. Did really well there, Ryan. So it is a throw for Adam Smith to take. Smith's throw taken on the chest of Evan Nilsson. It's back in Bournemouth half with Hill. Scott, again here's James Hill. Square to Cook. Back in defence to Hill. Scott in between the two centre-backs, and Scott is used. Hill controls right-footed. Now Petrovic, and will he combine with a centre-back, or will he maybe go into midfield? Scott dropping towards him. Actually Petrovic looks towards the right. And Smith, well, he got a touch on it, stretching with his right boot, but couldn't control it. Not the greatest distribution there from Dordy Petrovic. It's a throw for Joško Gvardiol to take just by Enzo Maresca. Semenyo combines with Gvardiol. Semenyo again, and Phil to Gay. Now back towards the halfway line where Elliot Anderson controls right-footed. First up from Husinov, and now Foden. It's Matheus Nunes inside right. Now out here to Foden, down line for Matheus Nunes. Now sliding challenge from Scott, and misses Nunes though. Nunes crosses, Semenyo misses the ball. It's an air kick at the back post for Antoine Semenyo. It was a testing ball in from Matheus Nunes. Scott committed himself. So Nunes turned, put the ball in towards Haaland. He couldn't get to, but Semenyo, well, he stuck out his left boot. Actually, really, I said it's an air shot, actually. Looking at it again, he didn't really even make a swing towards the ball. Bournemouth's goal kick now forced to Tavernier. Tavernier bundles down. Actually, it was a nice little touch from Evan Nilsson first to get to Tavernier. And Tavernier just clipped from Mark Gay. So Tavernier's been excellent. His work rate, and finished off a chance which has Bournemouth ahead here in Manchester. So free kick in the centre of City's half for Bournemouth to take. In this one, I'd say 40 yards, maybe just under. So Scott will just tap this to Scott, attach to Cook in midfield, and now it is a square pass from Hill to Smith. James Hill. So Bournemouth just growing into the second half now after Man City started it brightly. So again, Petrovic clips it, bounces to the midriff of Truffert. Behind him to Silva. Petrovic in the 6-yard box. So Petrovic goes short right-footed. Here's Cook. Cook now take it back into his own area. Petrovic squares it. Man City pressing it. Haaland towards Silva, but Silva gets his pass away. Scott, little layoff now to Tavernier. It's gone back to the goalkeeper. Bournemouth enjoying their possession at the moment. So it's going to be a long ball. Flick from Petrovic. Flicked on the halfway line from Ryan. On the bounce, cleared forwards. City defence now headed down to the ground from Hill, and then Tavernier clattered into the hip of Anderson. So that is a free kick in favour of Man City. Oh, Matheus Nunes. Bit of back and forth with Evan Ilson. It's quickly been broken up. In fact, actually, it's Ruben Diaz is that a ripped shirt for Ruben Diaz, or is that just an angle I'm seeing? Now, I see sure Ruben Diaz has got a rip in his shirt. So the ball spun forwards towards Tavernier a moment ago, where him and Anderson colliding. There was a clip on Anderson's leg by Tavernier. Anderson takes the free kick by the centre circle. Here's Ruben Diaz. Now played over halfway line from Husnov to Nunes. Foden, so an hour gone here in Manchester. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. Poor pass there for Nunes. Cleared forwards from the visitors, but straight into the feet of Husnov. The drill from Ruben Diaz. Searching for Semenyo. Not a bad idea there. Wasn't too far away from finding Antoine Semenyo. Again, drilled that right-footed Ruben Diaz. Elliot Anderson, that's an issue here, rubbing his right thigh. I don't know if that has anything to do with that collision he had with Tavernier a moment ago. He's certainly feeling something at the moment, Elliot Anderson. So it looks like it's going to be a double substitution for Enzo Maresca. Mateo Kovacic and Ryan Cherki coming on. So Elliot Anderson still being looked at. I wonder if he'll be the player to make way. Just a reminder, by the way, if you are watching the game as well as listening, make sure you are watching through your local broadcaster. It is going to be the end of Elliot Anderson's afternoon, so not the first league appearance he wanted for Manchester City. 160 million man. I'm sure there'll be plenty more better games for him to come, but this afternoon, Alex Scott, Patrick, the England under 21s, certainly got the better in this afternoon. So Anderson making way and straight down the tunnel as well. Ryan Cherki, you know about his talents. Can he come on and change to go with Nico Riley, by the way, the other player off that double substitution, which brings Mateo Kovacic and Ryan Cherki onto the pitch. Can they swing the game in Man City's favour and get Enzo Maresca his first win? So goal kick Bournemouth state. Well, Enzo Maresca certainly, knows how Man City work with being the assistants Pep. It's a lot different being in that hot seat, that's for sure. Petrovic goal kick. Headed from Tavernier. Kovacic first touch with his head. It bounces to Evan Ilson. Just over halfway on the left-hand side. Evan Ilson flicks it, intercepted though. So it's Man City's playing it quickly through lines now. Haaland by the centre circle, trying to ball the outside of his right boot. Cut out from Smith, and then just lifts it toward the centre circle. Volley from Diaz, bounces onto the head now of Foden. Foden holds it up, then Scott in with the challenge. Alex Scott certainly a contender for man of the match here. And a sterling midfield performance in Scott now back to Silva. And Bournemouth in their penalty area with Petrovic. So Petrovic has gone to his right centre-back in the box to Hill. Hill being closed out for Semenyo, but Hill hits the diagonal. Now it's poke force from Tavernier. Truffet on the run, but Matheus Nunes reads it. Just past that left-footed back to Donnarumma. Now it's right-footed from Diaz. Here's Gavardio. Man City go backwards. Diaz across to Husnov. Husnov now right-footed to find Foden. Foden dinks it towards the centre circle. It's headed from Cook. And now Kovacic to Gay. Gay trapped that on the stretch. And an attempted pass into the feet of Cherki from Kovacic, but that's intercepted from Scott. So Bournemouth have it now in the back line. Feet of James Hill. Now Silva to Petrovic. Petrovic also slipped there from Scott, but gets the pass away, but gives it to Foden. Foden clips into the air. That's a powerful header from Cook into the feet of Truffet. Now back to Antonio Silva, which is right-footed. It's a nice touch there from Clive to Scott. Now space open up in midfield for Bournemouth to play it forwards down the right for Ryan. Gets on the outside of Gavardio. Ryan now just takes out a play. Josko Gavardio. Hard job to keep pace with that Ryan, but he actually did really well there, Gavardio. And it is a goal kick to Manchester City. 25 minutes left here at the City of Manchester Stadium. Bournemouth leading by goals to nil. Marco Rosa's first game in charge. One ball flicked on from Semenyo. Haaland keeps in play on the left. Haaland's ball in the centre. Petrovic gets down to it. Foden was blocked off in true fair, and that just gave the chance of Petrovic to slide towards the ball. Semenyo flicked on, and Haaland, fair play for not giving that one up. Haaland, excellent strength. Looked like Hill was going to get there first. Haaland out-muscled him. I think Truffaire's been excellent today. Well, I mean, it's been a brilliant team performance for Bournemouth so far, but Truffaire's done a really good job. Hill, right-footed, goes into the feet of Tavernier, just dropping on the defence midfield position to pick that off of Hill. Hill now plays a daisy cutter pass to Truffaire, coming up towards the halfway line, inside to Scott. Scott now with a switcher play. He will find Ryan and controls with his midriff. Ryan back in his own half to Hill. Jason with the centre circle. Hill right-footed. Cross to Antonio Silva. So slick on his debut at the back. So Tavernier holds it up on the halfway line. Just to go backwards. On the ball, the Bournemouth Cook. Petrovic being closed out. Man City initiating the press. Hill though first time. And Bournemouth trying to break through the press. Cook though gives away. Gay was fouled, but the referee waves play on. Ryan Cherki to Semenyo. Semenyo's pass blocked. Semenyo shot taken. Safe from Petrovic with his left wrist, and then Hill clears. And now Man City on the front foot. Inside left for Kovacic. Out to Gavardio. Back inside to his fellow countryman. Kovacic turns inside left edge of the box. Squares it to Gay. Now Bournemouth on the back foot again. They have dealt with the pressure well when it's come. And now Tavernier charging from the front. Foden has to go back the centre circle to Diaz. Out wide to Gavardio. Here's Ruben Diaz. Mateo Kovacic level with the centre circle. Now plays the ball inside of it to Kusanov. It's worked now wide right to Mateus Nunes. Man City about 26-27 yards away from goal. Nunes backwards to Husanov. Again, Man City in the centre circle with Diaz. And now Kovacic in possession. He's just headed Diaz. Tap to Diaz, just about got to Diaz. Evan Nilsson thought he could try and latch onto the ball. Kovacic combines with Husanov. Gay inside right. Man City slowly coming forwards now. Ryan Cherki. Infield to Foden. Foden takes a shot, deflects wide. Man City building pressure. They'll have a corner to take on the left-hand side. And that's what Enzo Maresca want to see, the combinations between likes of Cherki and Foden. And that Foden shot deflected wide for a corner kick. So it will be a Frenchman, Cherki, to take on the left-hand side. Just a reminder, the other game in the league at the moment, Brighton 4, Aston Villa 0. Corner in from Cherki, headed away from Silva. He's won pretty much everything today. And now Man City have it well away from goal. To poor pass there from Kovacic, intercepted from Scott. And now just patted down the line to Tavernier. Can't get his feet sorted out in the end, and it's a throw for Gavardio to take. And now Kovacic hooks it to Ruben Diaz. Kovacic on the halfway line. And now here is Ryan Cherki. Cherki just over the halfway line towards the centre circle. Onside it, Cherki goes for a short right-footed pass to Husanov. Again, Truffaire pressurising Mateus Nunes. He stays on his feet, Nunes. Now it's in the centre circle with Diaz. Gay. Man City just trying to try and play patiently against the wall of red and black shirts. So Man City now in defence midfield with Kovacic. Kovacic again just goes to his right. Now Man City bring it over halfway with Husanov. Now it's out wide here with Ryan Cherki. Now what can Cherki maybe do with this? Cherki, I have to move behind him, tightly marked for Tavernier with fair to accompany him. Man City move it in central midfield to Kovacic. Now Gay, edge of the box. Gay rolls on the right hand side. Ball in for Cherki. He cuts it back. Poked away from Silva. Tavernier chasing it down deep in his half. And Tavernier plays it backwards. Truefair whips it away. Left footed now. Bournemouth sitting really deep with 20 minutes left here at the City of Manchester Stadium. Cherries is leading by goals nil. First half finish from Marcus Tavernier. Just a reminder, if you are watching the game as well as listening, make sure you are watching through your local broadcaster. Man City in the centre circle. Gavardio to Kovacic. Just behind halfway. A light way to pass from Husinov to Cherki. Back to Husinov. Now Kovacic. Then goes in the centre circle. Kovacic plays it through the Bournemouth forward line. Then Scott steps forward with an interception. Disappointed. It just bounced off his left foot in the end, Scott. And now Foden loses it in the centre circle from Ruben Diaz pass. Tavernier trying to come away with it. Gay sticking tight. Tavernier moves further that wide. Tavernier does dig out across, but not a lot of power. And just passed out the box from Diaz to Nunes. Gay short for Foden. And now Kovacic. Man City midway inside their territory. So Kovacic again tapped it to Gay. And now is Kovacic going to get it back? Gay looks as right instead. Paints the feet of Husinov. Mateus Nunes trying to play a ball down line. Instead gets away from Truefair over halfway. Now the space opens up more for Foden. Good work from Mateus Nunes. Foden now right side of the box, back into the feet of Nunes. Nunes sets up for Cherki. Tidy feet for Cherki to Haaland. Haaland's over. That was well played there from Man City. But Haaland just off balance when it fell to him. Foden drove forward, squared it for Nunes. He instead gave it to Cherki. Ryan Cherki, tidy feet to set it up for Erling Haaland in the area. Haaland turned onto his left boot, leaning back maybe a bit too far. And that's where the ball went, well over the bar. In the end, now Bournemouth making some substitutions. Tyler Adams will be one of the 3 players to come on. So Bournemouth go long from the goal kick. Collective left foot of Kovacic. Now is Ruben Diaz. I think Daniel Jefferson beat one of the players to come for Bournemouth as well. Gavardio to Semenyo, holding off Smith on halfway. Has to go backwards to Gavardio, so Smith did his job there. Now squared from Diaz into the feet of Husinov. Out now to Mateus Nunes. Nunes inside to Kovacic. Kovacic right footed, poked to Gay. Man City 40 yards and goal. Here is Ruben Diaz through the middle to Foden. Foden surely pushing the back there. And Jared Gillett just blows whistles. A push from Hill. So Man City free kick, central position, just over 35 yards and goal, where Cherki receives it from Kovacic. Now it's in the centre circle with Diaz. Kovacic left foot now. Again, nice ball through the middle for Foden. Foden can't find Haaland. Haaland wandered to the right side of the box. Foden passed the other way in the area. Foden is saying he was pushed. Kovacic, nice ball through the middle to Foden. Oh, it did look a push there from Scott and Foden. But no free kick in Man City's favour. So Petrovic searching right-footed ball. It's a flick off a Tavernier. No one behind him though. Again, Bournemouth sticking tight in their shape. Their plan now is to see this 1-goal advantage out. 73 and a half minutes played at the City of Manchester Stadium. And Man City rescue this to get Enzo Maresca off to the right start in the league. Certainly didn't go well against Arsenal in the game between the league champions and the cup winners last weekend. Gavardio picks up Semenyo. Touched it, Ryan Cherki. Kovacic coming towards the centre circle, squared across the face of Diaz. Husinov on the halfway line. And right footed pass about 5 yards to Nunes. Moves it on the far side to Gay. And again, here's Foden. Now plays it through to Gay in the box. Gay cuts it back to Haaland. Haaland stabs it down to the ground. Petrovic dropped it the first attempt, but then got onto it. And that was a chance there for Erling Haaland. He's not been at it today. It was a really good running behind of Scott from Gay. Foden gave it to him. Gay the bouncer ball cut back for Haaland. And maybe because it was a bobbling pass from Gay, that made it a bit awkward for Haaland. Haaland hit it down to the turf. And Petrovic dropped it. He should have really caught that the first attempt. Petrovic can count himself a bit of a lucky man that no one was anticipating him spilling the ball. Chance there for Haaland. We have a quarter of an hour left there. That's what stands between Marco Rosa and his first league win as Bournemouth manager. So substitutions now being made from Bournemouth. It looks like Cliver will be one of the players coming on. Dan Jefferson is on. Also coming on is Alex Toth. So Tyler Adams, Alex Toth and Dan Jefferson, the trio of Bournemouth players to enter the pitch to see this out. What a start to the season this would be. So the four made way by way were Cook, Kluivert and Evan Nielsen. So throw taken Man City in the Bournemouth half. Now they're back in their territory. It's a left-sided centre-back. Diaz gives it to Gavardio. Diaz again. Floats it now towards the halfway line on the right. Comes off Mateus Nunes' hip. There was a slight push there on Nunes from Truffert. So free kick for Man City to take just behind halfway. Mateus Nunes takes it into the feet of Husinov. Diaz at the Code Husinov. Now Mateus Nunes looks to try and set away Haaland, but Silva read that, headed that down for Scott. Scott now plays it outside the right boot to try and set Jefferson away down the channel. Husinov has the pace though. Husinov back to Donnarumma. And again is Husinov. Jefferson chased him close towards the corner flag. Husinov goes long. And too long for Haaland. Now bouncing to Silva. Silva nods it. Helped on by the head of Adams. Then nodded from Kovacic. Trapped from the left foot of Foden. Man City take it over halfway with Mateus Nunes. By the way, Bournemouth haven't registered a single shot this half. Now Foden turns and tackle from Truffert, but tell you what, Marco Rosa won't care one bit. The side see this out. Even the point would still be a really good result, but we've got 30 minutes left. I feel like a long 30 minutes plus stoppage time, but Bournemouth have that disappointment they can't see this out. So they've led for more than a fair amount this game. Then Adams plays into the feet of Tough tackle from Foden. That will do though for Bournemouth. They get a throw just inside the Manchester City half, and Jack Grealish is set to come on. Again, can he make himself a big part of the manager's plans if he can come on and impress? Couldn't do that in Cardiff last week, and Bournemouth take the throw, and actually it's a yellow card given by Jared Gillett to Phil Foden. So just sort of sums up the frustrating afternoon Foden's had. So it was a throw taken, Foden just clipped Jefferson, who was sandwiched in between Foden and Gay. Actually, Jefferson's knocked the back of Foden as well quite heavily after the challenge came in. So it's a bit of a sore one for Foden's take, and he got a yellow card for it as well. So a free kick for Bournemouth out on the left-hand side. So I think it will be Alex Scott to deliver. Actually, it'll be Tavernier. Tavernier with the outswinger, headed towards goal, pushed away for Donnarumma. It was the substitute Jefferson in the near post area who got the contact. He got it on target. Donnarumma made the save with his right hand. That was a really nice ball in there from Tavernier. Jefferson guided it towards Donnarumma's right. And strong hand there for Donnarumma. Actually, Jefferson now just backing into Donnarumma just before this corner comes in. But finally, Bournemouth have a shot in this second half. Scott's corner in, flicked away from Diaz. And Donnarumma furious. He felt he was fouled from Jefferson. But it will be another corner for Bournemouth. This time on the right-hand side. So just over 10 minutes left here. That to be precise, 79 minutes 10 seconds on the clock. And that clock, I feel like it'd be going down slowly for the Bournemouth supporters. And Bournemouth possibly wrap this up. Well, Donnarumma and Jefferson get themselves into another scuffle. And Tyler Adams get involved as well. Donnarumma really displaying his temper. Help his teammates, including Mateo Kovacic, just trying to calm him down. Tyler Adams been a bit of a wind-up here, I have to say. He's got that in his locker. He's only got a bit of the devil in him, Tyler Adams. And Adams just now getting talking to by the referee, Jared Gillett. Jefferson's there as well. So warning from the referee. 10 minutes left here at the City of Manchester Stadium. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. So again, a bit more push from Donnarumma now. Gives Jefferson another push. Will this corner be taken? Finally it is. And it's a really poor one after all that awful corner. Towards near post, simply headed away by Matheus Nunes. But Scott receives it back to Petrovic well outside his area. Midway in the Bournemouth half. So goes long towards the left-hand side. Bounces away from Tavernier. Skimmed off his knee. Clearance made by Gvardiol. Lovely touch at Adams on halfway. Holds off Gay. Now Jefferson has it. Bournemouth 7-8 yards in the City half. So Tyler Adams in possession. Adams to Truffert. Now Truffert strokes it back to Antonio Silva. Silva right-footed just inside the Bournemouth box with Hill. Hill now hits it, laces of the right boot. Helped back over halfway from Diaz though. Now Semenyo steps onto the ball, but he just knocked into the back of Adam Smith. Again, Adam Smith one-on-one with Semenyo today, and he's been absolutely superb. Adam Smith. Some people look at that as a bit of a mismatch. Smith's more than held his own, the veteran. So Phil Foden is off. Disappointing afternoon for him. Massive season ahead for Foden. Can Jack Grealish possibly take his shirt and have a huge impact? Of course, Alex Scott nicknamed the Guernsey Grealish. So probably for, again, the headband look which Alex Scott's got. Well, actually, Jack Grealish doesn't really don anymore. Just a little ponytail for Jack Grealish with his hair slicked back today. So here is a free kick to be taken by Gordy Petrovic down the right-hand side. Ryan can't meet it, headed down to the ground from Gvardiol, then hooked forwards from Smith. Now Jefferson trying to outmuscle Gvardiol. Gvardiol holds his own. Gvardiol manages to play it down the line, albeit very lightly. It just gives the opportunity for Toff just to hook it out for a Man City throw. Should be deep inside the half. 8 minutes left here at the City of Manchester Stadium. Can Bournemouth hold out and make it 2 defeats to enter Brescia to start the season off with? Of course, lost to Arsenal last week in Cardiff in the traditional curtain raiser between the league champions and the cup winners. Throw taken from throw taken now, and it's been cleared away from Smith. And now Haaland gets his head onto it on the bouncer ball, heads it beyond Silva. Bournemouth get men tracking back as a tackle from Truffert and Haaland inside the box, and Silva clears from the D. And now flicked down for Tavernier, and all of a sudden Bournemouth now can get up the other end. Bournemouth come forwards with Toff. Passing behind of Ryan, but Ryan still has it. Ryan dispossessed from Gvardiol. That was a really poor pass from Toff. And now Gvardiol plays that in between of Ryan and Toff. Here is Ryan Cherky, middle of the Man City half. Matheus Nunes coming towards the 83rd minute. Man City 0, Bournemouth 1. Listen to independent studio-based off-tube commentary of this match. Here is a short pass from Diaz. Just behind halfway is Gvardiol. Really, just a reminder as well, if you are watching the match as well as listening, make sure you are watching through your local broadcaster. Then Erling Haaland in the league in August, 14 appearances, 22 goals. Can he keep up that form in August now? It's a ball down line to Nunes in the box, and Nunes cross-blocked there from Antonio Silva. Well positioned. As always, it's been very, very successful debut for him at the moment in the league. Will that be the case on the final whistle? When Man City breach Silva and his fellow defenders to get themselves back into this. So corner on the right-hand side. Whipped it for Ryan Cherky. Gaze free header, and Man City are back into this. And Mark Gay finishes a free header this time. Huge relief around the stadium for the Manchester City supporters. It is game on here in sunny Manchester. What a piece. Bournemouth have held out for so long, but finally breached. And Mark Gay, as I mentioned a moment ago, missed a free head early on this half, but he wasn't to be denied there. Calling for Ryan Cherky. Gay, powerful header. Petrovic should have saved it, to be honest. Oh, actually, I was harsh on Petrovic. He took a deflection. So Gay free in the centre of the box, and it nicked off header Truffert. I have to say, I apologise to Petrovic there. That flick from Truffert is what took it beyond the goalkeeper. I think actually that was going to be saved by Petrovic. But anyway, that's a bit of luck that Man City needed. One apiece, 5 minutes left. And Man City have the ball instantly for the restart. Nunes to Semenyo on the halfway line. So, Mark Gay with the opening goal of the Enzo Maresca era. Antonio Silva got a yellow card as well. I can't really specify a reason as to why. So it's square from Husinov to Diaz. Diaz now looks towards halfway. Cleared though from Adams. Well, Bournemouth, can they attack it and try and get the lead back? Jefferson to Ryan on the near side. Now Ryan, left-footed pass cut back. Turn on the edge of the box from Adams. Adams now prods it to Smith. Adams then going backwards. Bournemouth with Hill. Hill now being charged down. And now here is Bournemouth on the ball with Silva. Square from Petrovic to Hill. Hill direct down the right channel. Jefferson making the run. The ball bounces. Comes off Jefferson, then Yossio Gvardiol turns. Jefferson, was he having to pull at shirt? No, he wasn't. Jefferson squares at the top, then Toth dispossessed by Husinov. Toth fighting to win it back. Husinov on the stretch, pokes it to Semenyo. Semenyo against Truffert. Semenyo over halfway, gets away from Truffert. Semenyo goes down. Referee doesn't award a free kick, so Bournemouth can get up the other end quickly. Scott to Tavernier. Now Bournemouth just load themselves down. It's on the halfway line with Scott. Taps it to Toth, and now Toth slowly bringing it forwards inside left channel. Tavernier returns it to Toth. So here is Scott on the ball, and the send circles Adams. Plays outside the right to Smith. Back in the Bournemouth half of Silva. Point would still be a really good result for Bournemouth. Many would have had Man City strong this despite Bournemouth's excellent league season last time out. Truffert being harassed by Semenyo, but Truffert has a bit of space to play it to Silva. Bournemouth back in their box. 3 minutes left of normal time. Man City 1, Bournemouth 1. It's a long ball through the middle. As a turn for Jefferson, but Jefferson takes heavy touch, and that means Diaz can get there in the D and clear his lines. Semenyo now back to Nunes, and I don't know what's been given. Is it free kick to Bournemouth possibly? Whistle's gone. Well, Ben Gannon Doak is going to be brought on for Bournemouth in these last stages. 2.5 minutes of normal time left. It's heartbreak for the Bournemouth fans. They couldn't hold on to that lead, but can there be elation again? Because Bournemouth are attacking here, although now back midway in the Man City half with Adams. Square to Tavernier from Scott. Tavernier in a pretty deep position, albeit in the Man City half. Here's Hill. Good pressure on Hill there from Kovacic. Now Smith hits off of Grealish. Actually came off Jack Grealish left arm. So it's a free kick for Bournemouth on the right-hand side. About 5-6 yards to the Manchester City half. So Ben Gannon-Doak is now on the field for Bournemouth. Ryan makes way. Gannon-Doak, again, real direct player, electric pace, a good option to bring off the bench. Shows some good flashes in the summer on the global stage with Scotland. Bournemouth take the free kick back now to Petrovic. Bit of time on the ball for Adams. That Petrovic pass. Actually, space open up here for Bournemouth now. Tavernier in the middle for Toth. Nice play this from Bournemouth. Man City needs to get a grip. Now I've got men back. Gannon-Doak into the box. Gannon-Doak puts the cross in straight to the arms of Donnarumma. After that really quick build-up play from the Trays, Donnarumma, overarm throw. Haaland squares in the centre circle. Now can City attack. Tiny feet from Ryan Cherky. Needs options going forwards though. Floats it towards the left-hand side to Grealish. Grealish can't take it on control in play. And it is a throw for Bournemouth. And again, they were trying to build something on the left-hand side there, Man City, but Grealish was always fighting to lose a battle to get to that ball. So in the last minute of normal time, and either of these managers, first league games in charge of their respective clubs, got that opening win. Good control there from Gannon-Doak from Smith's throw. Now Hill. Hill goes long. So over halfway, too high for Jefferson. Comes on the head of Diaz. Nicely controlled there from Mateus Nunes. He has been a really good substitution, Mateus Nunes. Diaz goes square to Husinov. Trying to get away for Tavernier. Husinov, explosive pace of Tavernier. Equals his pace though, makes the tackle. with his right foot, and then on the byline, Tavernier clears away for a Man City throw. About to find out very shortly how much stoppage time we'll have here at the City of Manchester Stadium. It's opening weekend of the English top flight. So here's Gay, whose header via true fair deflection has Man City level. Now it's wide left. Grealish, Man City about 25 yards from goal. 3 minutes, that's it. Well, to be fair, hasn't been many stoppages, so right, cool everything officials, and Husnov just about gets his pass away. Probably actually got a little deflection of Jefferson, that pass from Husnov, which finds Semenyo. Having in true fair random. So 3 minutes, right on the side, either side to get a winner. Man City now in the centre. Edge box at Cherky, throws it through. A chance of Vardio, tucks it in! Oh, would you believe it? Josko Gvardiol flagged up. It's not meant to be for Gvardiol. The flag is up against him. The pass through was perfect though. Semenyo looked for an option behind him, had that in gate, and then square on was Ryan Cherky. Again, it was a pass threaded perfectly, but Josko Gvardiol was still playing him on. I think he might have just been leaning offside. I don't know if VAR can have a look at this. I don't think so. By the looks of it, or no, the referee is now insinuating it's going to be looked at. So will this stand? It'll be a tense wait around the City of Manchester Stadium. But that was just, it was lovely feet there from Ryan Cherky to slide it through Josko Gvardiol. It was a pretty tight one. So, is it going to be given to Manchester City? It is! Gvardiol's onside! Late drama! And Man City have rescued this! Would you believe it? It is well and truly heartbreak for Bournemouth now. Josko Gvardiol. Don't think many people would have thought that he would get the winning goal. Renzo Maresca's first game in charge. And Ryan Cherky, he made that perfect. It was Hill, James Hill putting Josko Gvardiol on, but Cherky, tidy feet to keep it away from three Bournemouth players, prodded it through, and Josko Gvardiol was a striker's finish. More composure than I've seen from Erling Haaland today. And he just swept it right-footed. Petrovic left route to the spot. He hit it under the legs of Gvardiol. And an incredible late turnaround for Manchester City, because they looked out of ideas going to the final 10 minutes. And that is exactly what Enzo Maresca needed. And his staff elated as well behind him. Josko Gvardiol, his first goal since December last year. Bournemouth have got a free kick. This will be the last chance for them. From the centre circle, Petrovic. Is there one more twist? Well, Hill heads up in the air, out on the left wing. It bounces out for a throw. Semenyo hits it up into the air. And it's actually going to be a free kick for Manchester City, offside given against Bournemouth. So Man City almost there. 40 seconds over to 3. There'll be a little bit of extra time with that VAR check, which awarded Gvardiol just surely the winning goal. Any minute now. Donnarumma clips it towards the right wing. True fares forwards, maybe one last chance of Bournemouth. Kovacic volleys. This will do for Man City. Grealish has it in the attacking third. He'll take it towards the corner flag. Just facing up Smith. Grealish, he can look for an option behind him. Jack Grealish now 2 men around him. Grealish dispossessing Gvardiol. Bournemouth have to get a move on. Is there one last chance? Gvardiol down the line. Jefferson on the chase. Cleared away from Diaz. We're still going on at the Etihad. We're almost a minute and a half over the allotted 3. Throw from Smith. Adams goes direct down the inside right channel. Headed away though from Diaz. Flick from Grealish over halfway. Hit on the bounce from Adams. Held on from Gvardiol. Comes off the top of Tavernier's head, nothing given. Man City cleared for Nunez. Now Haaland's on the chase. I'd love to crown this off with a goal. The 3 points is really all that matters, surely, for Haaland. They'll get plenty more chances to get loads of goals this season. Cherki to Grealish. Back for Cherki. 2 minutes over 3 now. Cherki clattered into by Todd. There goes the final whistle. Enzo Maresca, in his opening league game in charge, gets 3 points. At my word, it was not easy at all. Bournemouth took the lead through Tavernier in the first half. Evan Nilsson squaring it. Tavernier turned it home, but Mark Gay missed a free header from a corner early on in the second half. Did not miss it 5 minutes to go. Header did take a kind deflection off a true fair to Romford Petrovic, but that is what Man City needed. They need that little bit of luck. And Josko Gvardiol at the death. Ryan Cherki threaded the perfect ball through on the edge of the box. Gvardiol controlled, swept it low into the bottom corner. Initially ruled out as offside, but VAR overturned it. And Man City have dug out an opening league win. But credit to Bournemouth, they gave absolutely everything. Again, it's a sign of what's to come on the life for Marco Rosa. And certainly Bournemouth played some really good stuff. They had their chances in the first half to maybe put the game beyond Man City. When you don't take those, even when they have key players leaving, they look weaker. The manager has no idea what stature Pep Guardiola be trying to build it up, of course, but they found a way, and you've got to have a starting point. And Man City now can really try and build off this. Can they be in a title race this season? We will wait and see. It's finished here at the City Manchester Stadium. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1.